The pre-Roman period. In Hispania, before the Romans, the Spanish peninsula was inhabited by several tribes which were divided between Celts and Iberos. The Phoenicians and Greeks started to arrive and founded Gades and Amphiorus. By the way, the name of Iberia was given by the Greeks because of the river Ebro, which in Greek is Iber. After them came the Carthaginians from Africa and founded Cartagena. The Roman period. The Romans arrived in Epirus in 218 BC and finished conquering the peninsula in 19 BC under the leadership of the Emperor Augustus. The Romans founded several cities such as Emerita Augusta, Italica, and Tarraco, and expanded their culture during almost 7 centuries. The Visigoth period. But Rome ended up collapsing, and in the 5th century, hordes of Visigoth warriors from the north invaded Spain. The Swabians settled in the northeast. The Visigoths dominated the Iberian Peninsula for more than 200 years and established the capital in Toledo. In 589, Ricardo made Catholicism the official religion of the peninsula. The Muslim period. In the year 711, Muslims from the north of Africa conquered the peninsula and called it Al-Andalus. Resistance formed in the north, and the Kingdom of Asturias was founded. The Muslims stayed for 7 centuries and left 2 great monuments, the mosque in Cordoba and the Alhambra in Granada. The Reconquest. The Christians started the Reconquest in 722, when Don Peleo, an Asturian nobleman, defeated the Muslims, and from this moment they started to gain terrain, and the kingdoms of Leon, Navarra, Aragon, Castilla, and Portugal were founded. In the year 1212, in the decisive Battle of Navas de Tolosa, the Muslims were defeated by the Christians, and for the rest of the century, the Reconquest advanced quickly. In the end, only the Kingdom of Granada remained in the south. The Catholic Kings. In 1469, Isabel of Castilla and Ferdinand of Aragon got married and unified both crowns, conquering Granada in 1492 and unifying the peninsula. The discovery of America. In 1492, Columbus first left for the Indias, discovering America on the 12th of October. During the 16th century, conquerors like Hernan Cortés or Francisco Pizarro expanded the Spanish dominions all over America. The Austrian dynasty. Spain became the main European power under the reign of Charles I of Spain and V of Germany, who started the Austrian dynasty. His son Philip II was crowned King of Portugal in 1580, and therefore the whole peninsula was unified for 60 years. The Bourbon dynasty. In 1701, the Austrian dynasty ended and the War of Succession started and would end in 1714 with Philippe of Anjou as king, establishing the Bourbon dynasty. In 1805, Spain was defeated in the Battle of Trafalgar by the British, and in 1808, it was finally invaded by the French, and the War of Independence against Napoleon's army started. This finished in victory for the Spanish 6 years later. The 19th century. It was during the War of Independence against the French that the first constitution was proclaimed in Cadiz in 1812. The 19th century was very problematic, with the Carlista Wars between the liberal supportive of Isabel II and the traditionalists with Prince Carlos. Finally, in 1875, the Bourbon monarchy was restored with Alfonso XII. In the disaster of 1898, Spain lost its last colonies, namely Cuba and the Philippines, after a war with the United States. The Civil War and Franco. In 1923, Primo de Rivera established a dictatorship which ended up with the declaration of the Second Republic. After the military insurrection of 1936 against the Republic, a civil war started, which would end in 1939 with a military dictatorship under the rule of Franco. Democratic Spain. In 1975, after the death of Franco, the transition to democracy started, and in 1978, the current Spanish Constitution was passed.